Hey, what's going on, you guys? It's Tobey's Talkshow. This is episode number 27, and today I'm here with Alfred. He goes by FredoDaGawd on social media. He's the co-host of the Fredo and Ron's Nameless podcast, and he is part of the Blue Milk Boys. He is an avid Knicks fan just like me, and today we're just going to talk some basketball. There have been some things going on with Orlando. Kyrie has been in the news a lot lately, so we'll talk about that. And yeah, it's good to have you on the show.
Thank you. I'm glad to be on. Thank you for the invitation and all that. This should be fun.
Great. So I'm going to ask you just a few questions first, and then we'll hop right into the basketball part, especially Orlando.
Yeah.
So my first question for you is I ask everyone this on my show just because I am very interested. And it's, what did a day in your life look like before COVID-19, and how has that changed because of COVID-19, especially specifically, with your podcast and everything you do there?
Yeah, no, everything's been pretty much on hold. For the podcast, we just did one episode since the quarantine happened because we used to do it weekly. Every single Friday or Saturday, we would drop a new episode. But with just less going on and I guess not being educated enough on just the current climate, like me and my co-host don't think we're at that level just to be talking about it. If you're going to listen to anything during this quarantine, it should be like a professional or someone like actually handling day-to-day thing with COVID-19. So we just took a break. We had one episode. We just joked around for a bit just to have fun. There's a ton of things going on right now, so fun's a big thing. But the podcast has been on hold. Just trying new things out with the quarantine happening. I've been working out more, but like lately I've been doing a lot more streaming for video games. That's been pretty fun. I've been on Twitch like every single day. Just became a Twitch affiliate, so that's awesome. But yeah, I mean, just everything has changed. And, the NBA stuff, we'll get into it. That's completely changed. They're doing that whole bubble, which is not really a bubble. They've been arguing about it. But yeah, I think just everything, just being creative and having fun. That's what the big difference it really is.
Right. And so my next question before we hop into the NBA stuff is, tell me, how did you start becoming a fan of the Knicks? Is just because your parents, you from the area?
Well, I come from a family of immigrants, so I'm first generation American. None of them really knew basketball. My older brother did get into basketball when I was younger, but he would be a Kevin Garnett, Timberwolves fan. He liked the Spurs, Tim Duncan. He never really settled on a team. He just followed around the stars and liked them. But, I was the first one in my family to be born here. So I would be around the same. I was a huge Carmelo Anthony fan of the Nuggets. I would follow LeBron when they both got drafted. And, I stayed with the Nuggets the entire time until Carmelo was traded here. And that's when I really became a fan. But there really wasn't much going on with the Knicks before then. I didn't really know too many Knicks fans anyway. But yeah, I knew a ton of like LeBron fans. That's who we grew up on: Carmelo, Kobe Bryant, all that. But that's when I became I also liked Stoudemire. So when he got traded here, that was another. That's kind of what got the ball rolling. Well, Carmelo came here, I was settled on the Knicks.
Well, I'm glad you're part of the Knicks family. Hopefully we get good someday. It's been, since you've been a fan here, I think it's been like one playoff win. Hopefully you get more of those in the future. It's been a while, but so let's get right into the NBA. The first question I have is, and we could talk back and forth about this, is I'd like to hear your thoughts on the whole format that the NBA has set up. As they do have a plan now with the 22 teams, and they're going to play 8 regular season games. So I was curious to know your thoughts on, do you like the format that Adam Silver put down?
Well, out of all the professional sports, they probably are handling it the best. But I still think this could be headed for disaster because, I don't know, they say it's a bubble, but Disney World's going to be open during the time. And the Florida COVID numbers are blowing up. And, that it's just, I don't think it's going to work out. They honestly should hold off longer, in my opinion. But I'll give them credit for them being the best sports sports association handling it the best.
I definitely agree. I think Adam Silver has done a great job. I think what he's been given with this whole year. Honestly, there's been a few huge NBA deaths, Kobe and David Stern. I think he's been handling this year really well with everything that's been going on. Obviously with COVID and movement. So I think he's done a great job with the cards he was dealt. It's hard. Like you need to figure out how to replicate this league in one place, and you still have these playoffs to deal with. It's a big thing. So I mean, I think at least the 22 format, I understand it. I actually think it makes sense. You're giving teams that actually had a chance. So you're shortening the season to a point where you're trying to restrict the amount of maybe people that will get affected, because obviously you don't want to finish playing 20 regular season games and then do a lot more. It's also unfair for the players to play that long in one area, like not seeing their family, their friends, etc. So I think I understand it. It makes sense to me. Give the teams a chance if they deserve the chance. So for the format, I definitely agree. I do agree though that it may be a little risky. I think you're going to see if they go through with this and people start playing, you're going to see players that are going to be in games that maybe after the game they'll get the virus, or you're going to see players that are in Orlando that might get the virus, and I think maybe people don't realize that, but that's going to happen, and then those people might probably have to sit out for 2 weeks ish. But it's going to have to continue. Everyone. It seems a lot of the NBA, at least the players. Obviously, there's been controversy, but it seems like most of them want to play. So I mean, hopefully, not too many people get the virus. I think some people will. So I think the format's fair, and I just think when people do get the virus, we're just gonna have to push through, and those people may have to sit out for 2 weeks or whatever it is that they decide.
Well, the NBA is projected to lose like over $900 million if they don't play, but they're gonna get the virus. It is what it is. The Phillies baseball team just came out. I think they've had over 6 cases of coronavirus, and we see a few pictures of LeBron, Ben Simmons, college prospect, and Tyrese Maxey playing in an open gym yesterday. I do not know how I feel about that. That sounds pretty dangerous. I don't know where they're playing in the open gym. Especially with Florida's numbers going up. A ton of states are doing record highs these days. So
I think this is kind of where the second wave may come in, especially because of the protests. And I think at least I hope this is where the second wave is. So it's earlier than maybe it was projected to be. I think a lot of these states were on the decline, and then because of the second wave, especially with all these protests, it's going to go back up. So hopefully, and that's why I'm also scared, because I know Florida, like you just said, it's increased a lot, and that's where they're going to play. So I don't really know, and I think there's still a month. I think people don't realize that there's like a month and a half till they're actually going to play games. So there's a lot of time to see what happens. We'll see maybe a lot of people might get the virus, they may have to change plans, or we'll see what happens with Florida, the state in total. So there's still a month and a half-ish till the players play. Obviously, I think they're going to go down in like a few weeks. But it's crazy.
It is really crazy. They're beating their own record every single day. So I've seen the details for the bubble, but it sounds like they're still going to be open for business. So that's extremely dangerous, and so some of the viruses are going to just catch on to someone.
So kind of sticking to basketball, let's kind of shift the gears. And I was curious to see, who do you think, if the season were to happen and hopefully, none of the players get the virus, and let's pretend that, who do you think would win the championship?
I have the Lakers.
You do?
I have the Lakers. Yeah. LeBron was playing at another level before that season ended. The whole team was playing really, really good, LeBron, AD. But I've been on the Lakers bandwagon since the start of the season. I just don't see – it's every playoffs we watch LeBron James, he's just the whole game plan to play them is to stop everyone else around them. But now you have 2 unstoppable. The Clippers are very good, and maybe they do have a chance to beat them. But who's going to stop AD down there? It's not going to be Zubac. Harrell's too small. He's around like 6'9", 6'10". But they don't really have a matchup answer for that for me.
Well, for me, I have the Clippers. And I've been a Clippers bandwagon. Obviously, I'm a Knicks fan, but I've been on the championship Clippers bandwagon since they got Kawhi. I thought in the summer, I thought the whole time the Clippers were going to land Kawhi just because that's where he's from. And I thought, if he was going to go to an LA team, he'd kind of go to the quieter team. That's just the type of personality. That's who he is. But so I was saying, even before we knew anything about him going there, I said if Kawhi would go there, I think they'd win the championship, without even knowing that Paul George would go with him. So kind of when that happened, that was kind of the cherry on the top for me. I didn't really care who signed where. After they got Kawhi and PG, I was all in. I just think Kawhi last year kind of proved he was the best player in the league with LeBron not making the playoffs that year. And so I just thought that, wherever this guy was going, that team would have a very good chance of winning. And I think, you pair him with Paul George, who, when he's fully healthy, he's a superstar in the league. He's top 15, top 10 player, depending on, where you rank him and people view him a little differently. But, yeah, I just think Kawhi, Paul George, especially giving them 4 months of rest. Obviously, the rest helps everyone. The Sixers obviously get improvement from that. But especially with Paul George and Kawhi, who have been injury-prone in their careers, especially as of late, I think that'll very help the team. And I think, honestly, another thing I read that I actually agree with is that, the Lakers are a team where they've had this chemistry going, throughout the season. It felt like their chemistry was growing and growing. And so maybe for me, how I view it is maybe, with this break that may hurt them a little bit. And the Clippers, were a team, especially since they had these injuries I talked about. Paul George was out for, the beginning of the season, and Kawhi with load management was in and out. I don't think they ever formed really that great chemistry together as a team, especially also, they signed Marcus Morris, Reggie Jackson, Joakim Noah. These guys are coming in and out. So maybe I think this break also hurts the Lakers in a way with their chemistry, and the Clippers, because they never really formed that big chemistry, maybe it doesn't hurt them as much. So that's why I think the Clippers have a very good chance. But also another team of mine is the Rockets. I know a lot of people dislike the Rockets. Obviously, I think the Bucks, the Eastern side, will get there. I just think Giannis really isn't there yet as a player. And you can tell me your thoughts about Giannis and the Bucks right afterwards. But I just think Giannis as a player, I don't see him winning the championship now. I think he'll roll through the East. But going back to the Rockets, I just think if they get a chance to play the Clippers and Lakers, if they sneak by them, I mean, really for me, I just think that if James Harden and Russ could play their best basketball, they're dirty. They could beat anyone, in my opinion. But obviously in the playoffs, Russ and Harden have shown that they don't play their best basketball. But for me, if this year is the year that they show that, then I think they have a good chance.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm thinking about one thing you said about Kawhi proving he was the best player, and I really do believe it's the playoffs that you prove you're the best player in the world and whatnot. And that's the whole thing about Paul George. And people he's a superstar, but it's more of a regular season superstar, and he never shows up in the playoffs. That's another thing. That's why I really think LeBron James is the best basketball player in the world until I'm proven otherwise. I know he didn't make the playoffs last season, but it was young Lakers core. They were not a good team overall. He had the injury. I get it. All that, the slights against them, but until I see LeBron again in the playoffs, I can't take him. He just plays tiers above everyone else, so I can't take that title away from him yet. And with the addition of AD, I still have them as a champion, as the championship favorites in my opinion. The Clippers are right there behind them. I do actually like the Rockets, but there's another thing. I mean, they really don't. It's the same thing about when it comes to playoff basketball. They just play steps below, especially James Harden. Westbrook, he forces it, but he's always there every game. For the Eastern Conference, it's debatable for me. I still can't put the Bucks right there. I know they're the number one seed. The Raptors have really surprised me. I really think the playoffs are going to shine once again. They have the manpower to do it, especially with the bench. It's going to be consistent firepower throughout the entire game. They don't get enough love, but I really love the Sixers in the playoffs. They're following some of the same game plan the Raptors followed last year with the Bucks. The Raptors beat the Bucks with defense. They didn't slow down Giannis that much, but they slowed Chris Middleton enough. He played awful that playoff series, and the rest of the team. And the Sixers, it hasn't been the playoffs yet, but they really stocked up on defensive talent this season, and I got to see how they look like during the playoffs when the game slowed down. They have bigger bodies. I mean, they added Al Horford. He did not play good in the regular season, but he's going to be a good playoff. He played good enough defense, and he has playoff experience. They lost Jimmy Butler, But even their draft picks, it was all defense oriented. So I really do like the Sixers in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. I really do like them against the Bucks. So I got to see how that ends up going. Yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
Yeah, that's interesting because I think Giannis, when you look at the East and compare it to the West, I think the Lakers and Clippers, they have that 1-2 punch and that like the serious 1-2 punch. Like you could say the Sixers have that, but they've proven that they're not like a top team, especially in the East yet. So you can't even say that they're like the 1-2 punch that they're supposed to be. But that's why I think when if the Lakers or Clippers meet the Bucks in the finals, I think that 1-2 punch of either team, LA team, is just too much for Giannis. Chris Middleton, he's a good player. Don't get me wrong. I think he's actually very underappreciated. He dropped like 25 and 5 on 90, 40, 50 shooting, which is great.
Great player.
So I think he's very underappreciated. But I just think when you look at the two, like, Kawhi, Paul George, or LeBron, AD, and then you compare it to Giannis, Chris Middleton, I think that's too much for Giannis to carry. But I think, when you look at the East, I agree the Raptors, it was a team defensive effort last year that really stopped Giannis. Obviously, you have to give credit to Kawhi because he kind of took the leading defensive role, but how the Raptors controlled Giannis that series was honestly amazing to watch. They really shut him down. So, like you said, I think they could do it again. I think they have a shot. I just think the Sixers, I don't think they're ready yet. They're the 6th seed this year. I don't even know if they'll make it out of the first round.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, they're playing the Celtics.
Defense really shines in the playoffs. And I know they added they lost Jimmy Butler, but they added Josh Richardson. They drafted Matisse Thybulle.
Right.
They added Al Horford. I mean, he's going to be the backup, if anything, But
also, what I don't like about the Sixers is that they were so bad away, and obviously they're going to be more like obviously it's different for everyone, but they were quote unquote more away than they are home because they don't have their fans. They're not in Philly either. They're in Orlando. So if that stays true in the playoffs, also they were one of the best teams in the whole league when they were home. I think top 3, but when they were away, they were like the Knicks. So it's like are you going to play like what you were at home in Orlando, or is this whole like them being away from their stadium and their fans too much for them? I don't know. I think the rest for both Joel and Ben Simmons will be very helpful. I know they were both a little injured before the season ended.
Yeah.
So I think that could help them a lot. But I don't know. Yeah. I just think Giannis is too dominant for just all those other Eastern Conference teams. But I think, like I said, when you compare them to the Western Conference teams, especially LA, it's too much.
Yeah. If anything, I have any of the Western Conference teams as a favorite over any of the Eastern Conference teams. It's just when I keep mentioning the Sixers, if they hit their ceiling, and I'm a favorite for the Lakers, I don't think there's a team I'm more worried about than the Sixers or the Lakers. They have too much size. Ben Simmons I think he's the defensive player of the year this season. Joel Embiid was playing like top 5. Maybe top 3, and defense is really going to shine in the playoffs when the whole game is slowed down and you can be a little bit more physical. Definitely. And they just have they have the defensive numbers for it. They have players that keep going in, and if they have those big bodies inside, they're going to slow down AD and LeBron. But obviously, they do have some hurdles in the Bucks, the Celtics, the Raptors. But I'll see how the Sixers go. Obviously, they disappointed me a bit in the regular season, but I still have hope with just the players they added. And Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid were still playing really good this season, and that's all I can really ask for up until the playoffs.
So kind of going off that, I was curious to know, do you think that there should be an asterisk when we talk about this championship and the team, whoever wins? Do you think there should be an asterisk on their title run?
No, not really. I think there's enough games for any of these teams to prove it. But I guess that's a question for after the tournament, just because I don't know who's going to get infected and who's not going to get infected. That's probably the biggest thing for me. But if everything goes perfect, they have enough games to prove themselves. Every team has a chance. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I talked about this with a few people, and I've kind of taken the mindset where I think there should be an asterisk to the fact that, when we look back at this in history in 40, 50, whatever years, we know that this was a little different than what the NBA, playoffs look like. But I mean, these players are everyone's playing, in the same circumstances this year. Nothing's different. These guys are all going to compete 100%, and they're all going to go at each other. They're all in the same arena. Nothing's really different besides the fact that it's different from what we're used to seeing. So I think there should be an asterisk to the fact where yes, this was a little different, but I don't think you should really be able to take away whichever team wins. What they accomplished.
No.
So those are just my thoughts. I think it's hard because when we look back, I think there'll always be those types of people that will discredit whoever wins and the main player, like the superstar who wins. I think people will discredit it, but from my point of view, I just don't think that's really fair.
Well, I think every championship is discredited for whatever reason. It's like every season. The past few seasons has been the Warriors has just been too good. They're too stacked. When the Cavaliers came back from 3-1, Draymond was suspended, and people still to try to discredit that. So, I mean, there's always going to be some bias behind it, but what can you do? I think there's enough chances for any of these teams to prove themselves enough for a championship, and I won't take it away from them.
My next question for you is, I was curious because obviously, there have been rumors and some people have actually spoken up about it, of some people, maybe some athletes and some players not being comfortable of going to Orlando. Maybe that's because they think that their voice could be more heard if they don't go to Orlando and, stay to where they are. Or maybe some people are concerned about, the virus and they don't want to maybe infect their families or infect themselves. So I was curious, about players might not wanting to go, your thoughts on that, and what do you think should happen if they don't go?
I don't know. That's a lot.
Very tough.
I really formulated an opinion on this. I'm glad there's different viewpoints and everyone's expressing it. Because I really don't know if there is a right answer. People should, if people don't feel safe, they should not be forced to go under any circumstance. And then the whole thing about speaking up for more power and all that, I very much appreciate that too. I mean, there's different ways to go about it, and I don't know which one is the right way, but I know when you affect money in people's pockets, people listen. So that's a very good stance to hold if they actually want real change. So that's one way to go about it. I really appreciate that. And as for Kyrie Irving, I don't know if we're going to get into that, but I like everything he's doing. Obviously, I can have my own opinions on this. Anyone can have their own opinions, but his job is vice president of the NBA PA, and he's doing his job. If people have these viewpoints and he's speaking up for them, he's doing his job as their vice president and their leader. So you can't take anything away from them. He's not being a disruptor or everything they've been saying on ESPN. He's literally just doing his job, and to its full extent, this is what we need more of. Also, Chris Paul was also vocal in this too, and he's the president. So obviously, it's Kyrie Irving getting most of the blame and whatnot. But no, they're doing their job.
Yeah. I agree. I was listening to Kyle Korver talk about it, and I really enjoyed his viewpoint. He said, as a white man, I think it's time for us to shut up and just listen to what people think. And if these athletes think that the best way to go forward is to stay back, and if they think that's the best way to spread the message and voice their opinion, then I think we should respect that and listen to that. I think that there is a good. I think you can voice your opinion in Orlando. I think maybe it gives them a bigger platform, but like I said, like Kyle Korver said, I agree with him. If they think the best way to spread this important message, this is a very important time for the Black community. They're making a lot of change right now, which is great. And so I believe that if they think the best thing to do is stay home, then I think we should listen to that and accept that and agree with that. And with COVID, I agree with you as well. If some players don't feel comfortable to go, I think that's okay, and I think we should understand that. But at the same time, maybe because they're not showing up to their job, I think maybe there could be take off part of their salary for the games they miss or something. Because it is, you are, missing your job because of the virus. But, I don't think we should pressure people to go. If they don't feel comfortable, I think that they should stay back. Because maybe there are some high-risk athletes Obviously, they're all in great shape, but maybe some people have immune disorders or something that could be very impactful for them. So that wouldn't be fair to pressure them to do that.
Exactly.
And I think we could start talking about the Kyrie Irving situation right now. I think Kyrie is trying to bring positive change. I think the media has kind of created this narrative that he's like this monster, Antonio Brown type guy, which I don't think he is. I still hold a little grudge against him for not choosing the Knicks, but that's okay. I don't think he had any harm or any intent to cause chaos when whatever he was doing in the Nets group chat. I just think he was trying to let people speak and voice their opinion. I think with how media is nowadays, I think people are scared to speak up and say their opinion because people could take that and destroy it and make them into monsters. So I agree with you. I think Kyrie was only trying to do right. If the Kyrie Basketball Association or whatever the new league he was creating, whatever that was, that's a little crazy to me. I don't know if that was real. Supposedly that was fake. But I think they're trying to push a narrative that shouldn't really be pushed. Like you said, it's Kyrie's job to kind of give people this voice.
Yeah.
That's how I view it.
Yeah, no, the 14th, 15th guy off the bench is not going to have a powerful voice, and it's his job as the vice president of the Players Association to speak up for those guys.
Definitely. I 100% agree. And obviously there's been a lot going on with the whole NBA, and we just covered a lot of information, but I was curious to know your thoughts. My final question for you is, do you think that there will be a huge difference without fans? I was kind of talking to my dad about this, but I think it's interesting, because fans kind of are a big part of the game. I think some people, maybe Russell Westbrook, that they use the fan and the attention that they get to kind of excel and be the best person they can be. I know a lot of athletes love the fans and they use that, as motivation and they excel from it. So I was curious your thoughts on, the Fanless Games, and maybe do you have any ideas on how they could kind of replicate the fans and maybe the noises the fans make?
Well, I know they're planning on using 2K fan sounds, whatever.
Sounds a little crazy.
I don't know how I feel about that. Maybe they can try something more creative, create a giant Twitch stream or something, and you just hear people speaking live. I don't know, but it definitely is going to affect games. It's going to be a little awkward. I think it was when the Warriors came to MSG. There was a single game. I forgot when it was. Maybe 2 years ago, and MSG did a no music game. There was absolutely no music. It was just fans, and they kept it old school. Right. And Draymond Green said after the game, it felt distracting.
Right.
To have no music whatsoever. It's a staple of every single game. So it definitely is going to affect the players to an extent. It could get pretty awkward, maybe lifeless at times. I don't know. But it is going to affect games.
I agree with you. I think, these players have been playing with fans since they've been in high school. So I think it will definitely, it'll be different for them. And I think maybe they'll play a little different, or, they may have to get used to it. You still there? Okay, sorry, you just broke up quickly. I'm back. I think the Wi-Fi went down or something. But I was saying that, I think that some players may have to get used to the fans not being there, I should say, because, they've been playing since high school with fans. So I think maybe some players will have to get used to it, but we have to remember that there might not be fans for a while. The 2020 season, 2021, we don't know how that's going to go. There really hasn't been talks about that as we're kind of focusing on this season specifically right now. But there might not be fans the whole year next year. So I think it's, we're not really looking at the future yet when it comes to this season. But I think this may be something the players have to deal with for maybe a year or, 82-ish games instead of the 30 games they might play this year. So, it might be crazy. It might be a little weird. And I think it may, like you said, affect people's games. But I think it's going to be something we have to deal with for a while.
Yeah, it's going to be for a long time.
Yeah,
maybe 2 years. Who knows?
It's crazy. A lot of things are going to change. A lot of changes happening in the world, in the NBA. Yeah. I mean, that's really it. That's all I have.
Just video games lately. If anyone wants to watch me on Twitch, that'll be cool. That's pretty much it. It's
what's
same
your Twitch
account
name?
as everything else.
You could share it. What's it? Oh, FredoDaGawd7?
Yeah, it's the same thing on every platform.
Awesome. Yeah. I can't wait to watch basketball again. I know you are too. So yeah. Thank you so much, and have a great day.
Thank you, man. I'll see you.
Yeah. Peace out. Thank you.